and welcome to the Healthbeat Show. I'm Dr. Jeffrey Watson, and today I have a very special show for you with one of the top specialists in hepatitis C in the world, and that is in Dr. Ralph Peterson. Dr. Ralph Peterson, how you doing, Dr.
Well,
Peterson?
thank you for those compliments.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Tell us a little bit about where you're from, where you went to school, a little bit about your background and what you're doing now.
I'm from the Bay Area. I went to Skyline High School and from there to UC Berkeley. And after finishing UC Berkeley, I worked about a year at the Children's Hospital. And then I went to Howard Medical School. Finished up at Howard Medical School, went to DC General Hospital, did my internship, residency, and fellowship in gastrointestinal diseases. And then like all of us, we've come back home. So I came back home and opened up private practice in 1983, doing both internal medicine and GI. And as my practice grew, somewhere around 1994, I decided just to do GI. And so I just started doing GI and then let all my internal medicine patients to go by the wayside, but not really. I started reaching out to people like you and other folks into the community. And from then I just started doing GI and then I got involved in hepatitis C. Always been involved in hepatitis C, but never treated until the drugs really got better.
Okay, now, so you're a gastroenterologist.
Yes.
That means you take care of the stomach, the intestines, the liver, the colon, pancreas, all the stuff from about here to here.
Yes.
And traditionally, a lot of stomach doctors do scopes, endoscopes, and colon scopes and so on, but not, I don't think I know of any other stomach doctors who are doing work on hepatitis C. And that's what is hepatitis C anyway?
Well, hepatitis C, well, first of all, you know, as a GI doctor, the liver is very much part of what we study. So I get patients referred to me with abnormal liver functions, and we work them up for a variety of liver issues, not just hepatitis C, but they could have fatty liver, they can have alcoholic liver disease and drug-induced liver disease. So for other reasons, we find that the liver is involved. There's a subspecialty of gastrointestinal diseases called hepatology. And that's just folks who not only gastroenterologists and not only internists as well, but those that just really submajor in just the liver. So when you start talking about hepatitis C virus, you know, there's three viruses to worry about: hepatitis A, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C. A is pretty much one that does not lead to chronicity. B and C, that's the one that lead to chronicity.
When you say that, you mean it could be that it's ongoing.
It's ongoing.
It continues to make you sick or maybe get worse.
Yeah, continue to involve the liver. More importantly, if you look at why people get liver transplant today, hepatitis C is the reason that they get liver transplant. This is the number one reason why people get liver transplant today. And so the big push has been, how do we treat hepatitis C virus? We didn't discover it until 1989 anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I was in medical school, I'd never even heard of hepatitis C. There was only hepatitis A and hepatitis B.
Yes, and then you heard non-A, non-B.
They called it, there was this strange thing called non-A.
We knew it wasn't A, we knew it wasn't B, but it was non-A, non-B, yes. And they finally eventually discovered at NIH that hepatitis non-A, non-B was in fact hepatitis C.
That's what they said.
So a lot of the blood transfusion that we gave folks before July 1990, we gave them hepatitis C. So a lot of people contracted hepatitis C.
So they didn't test it? They
didn't know how to test it.
They didn't know how to test it before 1990.
Absolutely.
Wow. So is blood transfusion the only way you can get the hepatitis C?
Well, after 1990, you don't get it that way. But the other ways that you can get hepatitis C is, of course, IV drug abusers. They get it that way. Anywhere that there's blood that can be shared. So razors, toothbrush, tattooing is a big way that we see hepatitis C. Everybody worry about that. If I have hepatitis C, can I sexually transmit it to my partner? A very low percentage, something like 2%, maybe 5%. I wouldn't say no, but we tell folks, if you have hepatitis C, you don't have to protect yourself if you're with your wife. Usually, or with your significant other. Usually you have to have multiple sexual partners to pass on hepatitis C. Vertical transmission between the mother and the baby, very low percentage, once again. Now, if you have HIV and you have hepatitis C, also that co-infection, that incidence increases. Get like 10%, maybe 20% in some folks.
The 10% or 20% is transmitted easier.
It's transmitted easier.
To the person who has HIV gets it easier.
No, the person who does not have hepatitis C. And you're the person with HIV and hepatitis C, the likelihood of you transmitting it to them is greater.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So does that make the virus more virulent or more infective or something?
Yeah, well, you got two, yeah, absolutely.
Does it bring the HIV with it?
Well, you know, that's a whole nother subject, HIV, and so you know you can get HIV sexually as well if you're not treated. So I'm just talking about with hepatitis C, we see an increased incidence in that patient population.
What about the other forms of hepatitis like B and A? And so we're talking about infection of the liver by a virus. I've heard people talking about eating seafood and can you get hepatitis B from eating seafood?
Yeah, from mollusks. Yeah, those kind. Yeah, with the shelled seafood. That's how you can get hepatitis B.
Okay.
But in this case, you want to just talk about hepatitis C.
Right. You don't get it from eating seafood.
No, it's bloodborne.
It's bloodborne. And so I have patients all the time. I say, okay, I'm going to test you for hepatitis C. And I think it was Dr. David Satcher, who was the director for the Center for Disease Control around 1990, that was there when the non-A, non-B became hepatitis C, and he started encouraging people to get tested for hepatitis C. Am I correct in that?
That's correct.
And so I have all these people say to me, how come, I might test them just as part of their yearly medical screening, and they'll say, how come nobody ever told me this?
Well, the CDC came out in 2011, so that's very close.
Just recently.
Just recently, you look at the cohort of folks who were born between 1945 and 1965, there's a recommendation to test those folks because it's the baby boomers. And we did a lot of stuff, I guess, as baby boomers if you're born between that time period. So those are the ones that we really test. And if you have those risk factors that I mentioned, you had tattoos, you IV drug abusers, those kind of folks you test. Right now, if somebody coming to your office, they have abnormal liver function, you're going to test them for hepatitis C. But beforehand, it wasn't on our head to test people for hepatitis C. In fact, we believe that 8 million folks have not ever been tested for hepatitis C. That might be having hepatitis C right now. So that's a big problem in America right now. We don't know how many folks actually have hepatitis C. 200 million worldwide have hepatitis C. And the incidence in America, we say, is around 4 million right now that we know have hepatitis C, but probably more than that.
Is it more common in any particular country than another? For instance, like China or Africa or the United States? Or?
When you start talking about worldwide, it really becomes problematic. China, Egypt. What we see is the genotype. There's 6 types of hepatitis C.
Oh, wow. 6
types. And treatment is based on what type you have, what genotype you have. So if you're from South Africa, we tend to see genotype 5. If you're from the Middle East, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, those kind of places, it's genotype 4. If you're from where you just talked about China, Vietnam, Cambodia, those areas, it's genotype 6. That's what we tend to see.
Wow.
But if you're here in America, Australia, we see 1, 2, and 3. Those are the types that we tend to see. Wow. And genotype 1 is the most predominant of all of them. Wow. So all our treatment has been aimed at genotype 1. It used to be the most difficult to treat. Now it's not the most difficult to treat. The most difficult to treat now is genotype 3.
Okay, we are right here with Dr. Ralph Peterson. We're talking about hepatitis C. He's a gastroenterologist. As you can tell, he's one of the world's leading experts on hepatitis C. We've got some real interesting stuff to tell you, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed all that.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
I'm Dr. Jeffrey Watson. Achoo! Here comes the flu. The flu travels the world every year. You should begin getting the flu vaccine about October. The flu peaks in May on a sunny day. It starts out as a result of a virus called influenza A and another virus called influenza B. Every year the flu travels the world, and because of a chemical change in the virus called a neuraminidase, it changes every year. One year you have the swine flu, the next year the Philippine flu. Oh Lord, what do I do? Well, the vaccine will prevent the flu about 80% of the time, and the vaccine does not really cause the flu. Many of you are very worried about that. And there are other things that you can do. You can take pills to prevent the flu. They're called amantadine, Tamiflu, are just a name of a few of the things that you can do. So, this October, to prevent the flu, get the vaccine or talk to your doctor about one of the medications that can help you to prevent the flu. Remember always that your health is your wealth, and when you have your health, you have everything. I'm Dr. Jeffrey Watson. We'll see you next time.
Hi, my name is Lene Jackson, and I'm the office manager at the James A. Watson Wellness Center, and you're watching the Healthbeat Show.
Victory is mine, victory is mine, victory today is mine. I told Satan, get thee behind, 'cause victory today is mine.
All right, beautiful, beautiful. We're here with Miss Trenisha Golston from the 5 a Day campaign that tells you to eat 5 fruits and vegetables every day.
Right, that's right.
Because that's the key to our health. Now, we have some fruits and vegetables. What can you tell us about the seasonal guide to fruits and vegetables?
Okay, well, if you're on a budget, it's always best to purchase fruits and vegetables when they're in season. And I just wanted to point out a couple of our informational brochures that the state provides us with. And for example, in the spring, we're looking at between April and June, you'll find bananas, apricots, eggplants, these types of things that are in season. And say for example in the summer, July through September, you have chives, you have scallions, you have onions, you have blackberries. And I want to point something out on here too. Now this is a seasonal guide for fruits and vegetables for fall, October through December. We're looking at bok choy, we're looking at broccoli, and in the wintertime, between January and March, we're looking at collard greens, which we have here on our lovely display. We're looking at mustard greens, kiwi fruit, tomatoes, and even red apples.
And that's when they grow or are most available during those seasons?
Yes, that's when they are in season, that's when they grow. And if you're on a budget, as most of us are, that's when it's best to purchase them. So you can make sure you have your 5 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables.
And so what you're saying is that all year around, these fruits and vegetables, and a variety of them, are available to us.
That is correct.
No excuse not to get your good fruits and vegetables. That's what it's all about. Right here on Down Home Healthy Cooking on the Healthbeat Show. Eat your fruits and vegetables. They're good for you. The victory will be yours. I'm Dr. Jeffrey Watson, right here at the James A. Watson Wellness Center. Remember to get a screen in 2015. Heart disease, the #1 cause of death. We'll test your heart, your carotids, your blood vessels of the abdomen and legs. I always say that if you knew better, you could do better. And your health is your wealth. I'm Dr. Jeffrey Watson.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
My name is Omar Staples, and I'm a physician assistant here at the James A. Watson Wellness Center, and you are watching the Healthbeat Show.
Welcome back to the Healthbeat Show. I'm Dr. Jeffrey Watson. We're here with Dr. Ralph Peterson, and we're talking about hepatitis C, an infection of the liver that we didn't even really know existed as what we call hepatitis C till about 1990.
Absolutely.
Dr.
Yes.
Peterson is telling me the Center for Disease Control has now recommended, what is the recommendation in terms of testing that you're saying?
If someone was born in that cohort that we saw 1945 to 1965, or have risk factors that we mentioned, or has abnormal liver testing, you simply do a hepatitis C antibody testing on them and see if they're positive or not. Now, once you've done the test, which is what you guys tend to do, and it comes back positive, does not necessarily mean that they have hepatitis C. We just know that they have antibodies. Now we have to quantitate it to see if they
do like a viral load?
Do a viral load to see if in fact they're over a certain number. If they're over 15 international units per ml, that's most lab, and that's a pretty low number. If you're over that, you have hepatitis C. You have active hepatitis C in your body.
You have active hepatitis C. I'm learning stuff that I didn't even know about. So if then, but you're saying you could have an antibody, you could have been exposed to it, but it's not active in your system, you're not infective? Does that mean you can't?
Let me help say it this way. Me and you both know when you have antibodies, we're happy because antibodies are your friends.
Yeah.
And they tend to fight against the antigen or the enemy in your body. Once you have antibodies that you're cured, we're happy for you. But in this case with hepatitis C, that is not the case. If you have antibodies to hepatitis C, does not necessarily mean that you're free of the disease. We have to quantitate it. Do the load, as you mentioned. The viral load. Once we've done a viral load and the viral load is negative or low or undetected, yes, you do not have a hepatitis C. In fact, your antibodies are the friendly kind of antibodies that we're used to telling people that once you have antibodies, you're okay.
You know, you mentioned something, one way of transmitting it is with, in the process of receiving a tattoo.
Yes.
Is that real common?
Well, it's very common. If you look at the graphs, very common back in the day. Now you have institutions that are tattooing. You can actually go to a respectable place and get tattooed, and they make sure that there's no transmission of blood from one person to another. But we talking about
the needles
and all of that. But you talking about doing it in the garage or doing it like they were in the prison back in the day. That's how hepatitis C was so prevalent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hepatitis C, an infection of the liver, caused before 1990 by blood transfusions, a very low incidence, but a possibility of sexual transmission.
Absolutely.
As you said, any way that you might transmit blood. You said when we were talking off air that even people who were snorting cocaine, if they got blood on the straw and then got it in the other person's nose, that could be associated with the transmission of hepatitis C. Affects the liver, and it's the #1 cause of liver transplant.
That's correct.
So, and liver failure.
Absolutely.
Okay. I understand there has been treatments, but the previous treatments for it, to my knowledge, there was a medicine, interferon,
Yes.
and then an HIV-like medicine, which made people very sick.
Yes.
And they didn't, it became my experience that it wasn't worth the treatment. They got so sick.
Yeah, when we first started treatment after they discovered that it was not non-A, non-B, it was actually hepatitis C, when we first started treating with interferon at NIH, you only had a 4% success rate. And you had to take 4%. We were taking interferon on a daily basis or 3 times a week, and now we got it to weekly. And you were being treated for at least a year, sometime a year and a half. When they added ribavirin to that regimen, then we saw more success rate. We started approaching 25 and 40 and 50% success rate. In 2011, they came up with 2 new drugs, telaprevir and bocephevir. I didn't like them. I didn't treat at that time. I worked up the patient, sent them to hepatologists for them to be treated, but I didn't treat them because those drugs weren't very friendly to the body. A lot of side effects. A lot of side effects.
Were they also HIV-type medicines, antiretroviral?
No, these were, what they discovered then was that there was a protease inhibitor for the enzyme that the virus needed to just attach inside the liver cell, and that if we attack that enzyme, we can actually kill this virus. In fact, the success rate went up to about 70%, but once again, you were being treated for a year. December the 6th, I specifically remember that day, 2013, Gilead came out with a drug called Sovaldi. Sovaldi attacked how this virus replicated and how it packaged itself. And that became a game changer. Treatment went from 1 year, Jeffrey, to 12 weeks.
To 12 weeks?
12 weeks.
3 months?
3 months. And we're talking about a 90% success rate.
A 90% success rate?
Kill rate, 90%.
So what's the name of this medicine again?
Sovaldi.
Sovaldi. Sovaldi. And it's a 90% plus chance of a cure for the hepatitis C.
Since then, since December 6, 2013, we no longer use interferon. Interferon is off the table. There's no more injectable. It's all oral treatment. They've come out with a new medication, subsequently, called Harvoni. Harvoni is a combination pill that attacks the virus in 2 different locations. Now we're talking about 95% success rate. And in some cases, only 8 weeks of treatment, not even 12. All depends on your viral load. If your viral load is over 6 million, 12 weeks. If it's under 6 million, 8 weeks of treatment. And we're talking about a 95% success rate. Gilead, this company, has been so successful that other companies that are making hepatitis C drug, if you're not in the 90% cure rate, you're in 80%, there's no need to continue making your drug.
How come it's not just way out there on the market then? I mean, I don't know how to prescribe it. I think the average physician doesn't know how to prescribe it. You know how to prescribe it. And I can send the patients to you.
And I've been prescribing for your patient, yes.
Now, is it very difficult to get, or do you have to go through all kind of hoops for the insurance to pay for it?
It's a good question, and maybe that's why you have a show like this, because it is very hard to get, because the cost of those medications is about $1,000 to $1,300 a day.
Wow.
So you're talking about spending at least $100,000 for the treatment of hepatitis C.
On one person?
On one person.
Oh my God.
But remember, the cure rate is very high. If you go back in the past where you were spending less than that, maybe $80,000, $60,000 for 1 year treatment, the success rate wasn't there. And people were being hospitalized because of the side effects of the medication. So Gilead looked at it and said, well, if we come up with a number like $84,000, that's how much their pill costs for 12 weeks of treatment, we're still under the cost as if somebody had been treating with the old regimen. Plus our response rate, 95% cure rate, nobody was getting.
And little side effects?
Little side effects.
Not much in the way like these other
Nowhere near what the other ones are like, but more importantly, it's a risk benefit.
Okay, so here are the take-home messages. If you were born between 1945 and 1965 or so, ask your doctor to do a hepatitis C test on you. If it's positive, a viral load, maybe ultrasound the liver to see if you got cirrhosis, and also testing for liver cancer, because that can be a part of the hepatitis C result. And if it's positive and you catch it early or late, you may be a candidate for this medication, and they should refer you to a doctor who's experienced in utilizing this kind of medication.
And if you do catch it late, you will get approved for the medication. That's the goal. You will get approved. If you catch it early, that's been the big fight. If you don't have fibrosis of the liver, the first step would be fibrosis, then cirrhosis. If you don't have fibrosis of the liver, you're probably going to deny you the medication.
Okay. The 2 medications, their names again?
The main one is Sovaldi.
Sovaldi.
When people treat people with hepatitis C, Sovaldi becomes the main medication.
Sovaldi.
And then you have other companies like Jensen have some Mepivir. They're involved because they have a great success rate with that one too, and a 90% success rate. Sovaldi's been combined with Lodipresphere, another medication called Harvoni. That's the name. That's made by Gilead all together, those 2 drugs. They package together. But not to leave off Abbey. Abbey just got approved November last year, and they have a regimen too that's 99% success rate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, particularly for genotype 1B.
Wow.
You know, so it's like who can, and they're cheaper than Sovaldi. So What insurance company will pay for what? That's the big fight right now.
Okay, and you and your staff in the office can help us to figure that type of thing out.
We work with a specialty pharmacy, and that's the only way you can get this drug anyway. You just can't write it, give a prescription to somebody. It doesn't work that way. It goes to a specialty pharmacist, and they have the crew that will do all that legwork for you to get that patient approved. In fact, when people don't have fibrosis, they don't have cirrhosis, they don't have fibrosis, or they have early fibrosis, they're not bad off, these folks. They will not get approved. But if you make less than $100,000 a year, and you get 2 denials, because the first denial, then we appeal it, and they deny it the second time, then we get the drug free for you.
Wow. Wow. Okay, we're right here with Dr. Ralph Peterson, hepatitis C, education for you and me, right here on the Healthbeat Show. Dr. Peterson, we thank you so much for being here with us and
Absolutely.
for telling us about this. If you're interested in finding out more, how can people contact you, Dr. Peterson?
They can call my office because we welcome all patients, all the insurances, 510-562-7467. Just say you have hepatitis C. You don't even need the primary care to refer you because our goal is to treat as many people as we can. We are in the community. We're community-based physician service, so please come, and my goal is to take care of you.
All right. Dr. Ralph Peterson, I'm Dr. Jeffrey Watson, right here on the Healthbeat Show, where you'll always hear me say that if you knew better, you could do better, and that your health is your wealth, and when you have your health, you have everything. We'll see you next time.
You have everything. Take my word, but I heard about the Healthbeat. You're